I'm Carl Anthony, and welcome to InCabin, the groundbreaking new event and community from Sense Media, the creators of AutoSens. InCabin supports the knowledge and connections for automotive in-cabin technology specialists across the globe. Today, we're speaking with Casey White, Automotive Product Line Manager at VIAVI Solutions. And Casey, welcome to our InCabin program today. Good to see you.
Thanks, Carl. Glad to be here.
Yeah. So give us a high-level overview of VIAVI Solutions. Tell us what the company is doing right now and tell us a little bit about your role.
Sure. So VIAVI Solutions was founded in 1948. Well, Heritage Optical Coating Laboratories was founded in 1948. That's the what is now the Optical Security and Performance Products division of VIAVI Solutions. VIAVI Solutions, the Optical Security and Performance Products division, we produce light shaping optics and filter optics for both LiDAR and in-cabin monitoring in the automotive space. We're serving many tier one suppliers in the space with their OEM partners. And we're excited to share some of our stuff here today with you.
Yeah, this is exciting, Casey. And, VIAVIsolutions.com, you have a wonderful website. Want to encourage all of our viewers to take a look at that. Lots of good resources there. One thing I noticed, bandpass filters. And Casey, I come from the audio production world where we do use bandpass filters. And I just thought it was an audio only thing. And then suddenly now we have bandpass filters for LiDAR. So tell us all about that. What's a bandpass filter for LiDAR and why is that important?
Sure. So similar to audio, when you want to just allow certain frequencies of sound through, and also similar to radio frequencies, like with our cell phones, we only want to look at the signals that we're interested in. It's very similar to LiDAR and in-cabin monitor. So you have a laser source that you're going to emit into the world, and you're looking for that laser source to be reflected or scattered back to your detector. Well, the problem with that is that in the environment is full of light sources. We have, of course, the sun. You've got in the automotive space, headlights and taillights and traffic lights and all of these things that can cause your signal to be lost amongst all of the noise out there. And so what the bandpass filter does is it really cuts out all of that noise and just allows the signal that you're interested in to come and be detected with your sensor, your LiDAR sensor.
And similar to this, Casey, we were talking about this before, but this idea of an emissions type bleed over that LED lights have when it comes to in-cabin applications, we call this red glow visibility. So again, very similar idea here. Why is it important to filter out and get rid of that red glow visibility? Why is this an important topic to address?
Yeah, thanks, Carl. So in-cabin monitoring, it's the same idea. Right, we've got some sort of a light source that's being emitted onto either the occupants or just monitoring the cabin in general. And the source that's used typically are LEDs, and these don't have perfect emission at a single wavelength like lasers do. They actually have some additional bleed, as you mentioned, into the visible spectrum. And as drivers or occupants of the cabin, we can pick up these red glows, and it's distracting to the driver. So what we want to do is on those sources, put a little filter in there that cuts off that red glow and still allows the signals that we want to come into the cabin and then back to the sensor.
Casey, it seems like in cabin today, just the idea of having sensors in the vehicle. We've talked about exterior sensors before, but having sensors inside the vehicle, this is a very important conversation in automotive right now. Casey, from your vantage point, why is it important that we monitor, not just the driver, but the occupants, the whole of the vehicle as well? What are your thoughts there?
Well, there are several scenarios that make it important for us to understand what's happening in the vehicle. the example that comes to mind is, God forbid, but you should leave a child or a pet by mistake in the car. We want to know, for safety reasons, if that occurs, or if things are flying around and creating unsafe conditions, we want to make sure that the car can react or alert either the driver or an occupant or somebody nearby that something needs to be addressed.
And then Casey, along with the safety aspects, and I've heard other industry professionals talk about this as well, there's also the comfort and convenience aspect of in-cabin technologies as well. What are your thoughts on that? Is it just safety, or is there a convenience and comfort factor to it as well?
I think there certainly can be, if there are some climate control features that can be controlled and adapted to the occupancy, whether there's maybe there's your back seat's full of cargo, and the car shouldn't be sending air conditioned air back there. Perhaps we want to redirect that in a smart or intelligent fashion.
Right. And so in addition to your bandpass filters, in addition to addressing red glow visibility, you also do some work with diffuser and light shaping optics. Casey, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, thanks, Carl. So on the LiDAR, both LiDAR and in-cabin monitoring, the light sources, they need to have the light directed to where it's needed, particularly with the in-cabin monitoring. If we're talking about a driver monitoring system in particular, we want our signal to be, essentially frame the driver. Okay. And so we can shape the output of the LED to have a uniform distribution over where the driver is. And so that gives us a uniform illumination of the driver, and it helps the driver monitoring systems be able to get a clear picture of what's happening with the driver.
Signal to noise ratio, Casey, as you know, is very important to the LiDAR conversation. So tell me, with regard to VIAVI's optical filters, how do you provide an enhanced and an improved signal to noise ratio?
Thanks, Carl. So in traditional bandpass filter construction, we're talking about all dielectric materials. When these materials are constructed into interference filters, such as a bandpass filter, when light approaches this filter from an off angle, the structure or the response of the bandpass filter shifts. And so if we're interested in a broad set of arrival angles, which in LiDAR we have a wide field of view, we want to make sure that our bandpass filter doesn't shift off of our laser wavelength. And so designers will have to make the bandpasses wider in bandwidth in order to accommodate this angle shift. What VIAVI's done is come up with a proprietary technology, patented technology called low angle shift. And this reduces the amount of shift in center wavelength when the incident light is off angle. And so low angle shift. And now we're even introducing a further improvement called hyper low angle shift, which reduces the shift in center wavelength by an additional 40 to 50%. These narrower bandwidths, of course, block out more of the noise outside of the signal that we're interested in.
Casey, you have a lot of exciting news ahead, so I'm very excited to get caught up with you in Brussels. In the meantime, I want to direct all of our viewers to go to VIAVISolutions.com. About halfway down on the site, I'm looking at it here on my second monitor, there's a section that says learn more optical filters for automotive applications. And again, to all of our viewers, just keep your eyes on VIAVI Solutions, because a lot of exciting things coming up. Casey, I look forward to doing a second interview where we can sit down and we can talk more about what you have on the horizon. But in the meantime, thank you for being with us and sharing your expertise and your thought leadership. I look forward to seeing you in Brussels, and thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Carl. Appreciate your time.
For more in-depth interviews like this, subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on LinkedIn. For more information on our world-class events and technical training, visit auto-sense.com/InCabin. That's auto-sense.com/InCabin. Ahead of meeting in Brussels and on behalf of InCabin, I'm Carl Anthony.